I would argue that Bitcoin is trading an order of magnitude higher in price by 2030. Bitcoin's trading roughly, mid 90,000s right now. I think we're close to $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. And part of the reason is that whether it's the United States leading in this effort or it's, the sovereigns that are out there that are already accumulating quite a bit of Bitcoin, whether that's through ETFs or spot. This is not going to slow down. And Bitcoin is ultimately a hoarded asset. There is a fixed amount of supply, as everyone is aware. And as these larger accumulators of the asset come into market, that the price should move pretty significantly.
Imagine this. Bitcoin has reached incredible heights, only to dip and cause panic. But what if this dip is just a small pause on its way to a $1 million valuation by 2030? Sounds unbelievable? Joe McCann's bold prediction might change everything you thought you knew about Bitcoin. Bitcoin has evolved from a niche currency to a global financial powerhouse. Institutional giants are buying in, and even sovereign nations are exploring cryptocurrency reserves, with a fixed supply of 21 million coins. As global adoption rises, the price is bound to surge. Joe McCann believes Bitcoin will increase tenfold, hitting $1 million by 2030. The current $80,000 price is just the beginning. With growing institutional support and Bitcoin's scarcity driving demand, it's not a matter of if, but when. Stay tuned for Joe McCann's explosive insights. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more deep dive content. Now, let's dive in.
Crypto is, it really tests your intestinal fortitude. And there's really only two emotional states in crypto, and that's euphoria and terror. That's just the asset class. As this asset class continues to mature, we will start to see the volatility of these assets, theoretically come down. You can look at U.S. equities as a proxy to that. The stock market's been around forever. The volatility is significantly less. But I would point out that the volatility in the stock market the past couple of weeks has not been low. Right? If you look at some of the most high-performing, call them momentum stocks or high-tech stocks, they've just gotten absolutely decimated. I think Tesla down something like 33% a week or two. Even last week, the momentum factor, Goldman's momentum factor basket was down 20% in 5 sessions. That's just huge in TradFi, in traditional finance. Crypto was not immune to this. And in fact, to some extent, one could argue that crypto led this or kind of forecasted what was about to happen to the momentum trade in TradFi. If you take arguably the fastest horse, yes, I am a Solana bull. I know you are as well. But if you take the fastest horse and you look at it eclipsing a new all-time high right around Trump's inauguration, it basically went straight down. That was the same trade for the majority of momentum stocks in traditional finance. And so I think that this is a broader unwind or de-risking, given some of the geopolitical uncertainty as well as how that geopolitical uncertainty will affect broader markets. I don't think the bull run is over. I think that this is pretty standard for crypto. Multiple, call them bull market cycles for Bitcoin have had multiple double-digit pullbacks. Structurally, I don't see a reason for this cycle to be over, and I'll give you a handful of reasons why. Irrespective of one's politics, the number of positive catalysts and headlines that are coming out of DC right now, and potentially West Palm Beach, are arguably the most bullish in the history of crypto. And I think some of that got priced in when Trump won the election. I don't think most of it has actually been priced into the market. I think you're just seeing a broader de-risking of momentum, given the kind of the uncertainty and potential headwinds that come to risk assets. But structurally, this is the most bullish time for crypto as an industry, particularly as the United States appears to be on a path of trying to be the crypto capital or the center of crypto for the entire world. As we sit here today, based on the information that we have, I would argue that Bitcoin is trading an order of magnitude higher in price by 2030. So, Bitcoin's trading roughly, mid 90,000s right now. I think we're close to $1 million Bitcoin by 2030. And part of the reason is that whether it's the United States leading in this effort, or it's, the sovereigns that are out there that are already accumulating quite a bit of Bitcoin, whether that's through ETFs or spot. This is not going to slow down. And Bitcoin is ultimately a hoarded asset. There is a fixed amount of supply, as everyone is aware. And as these larger accumulators of the asset come into market, that the price should move pretty significantly, right? So 5 years out from now, it's not that big of a stretch to see Bitcoin 10x higher. Now let's talk about the broader blockchain space, the smart contract kind of platforms like Solana. One of the reasons that I maintain a bullish position on Solana, again, as we sit here today and extrapolate out further, is there's a pattern that emerges in high technology over time that we've seen time and time again, that when there is a new breakthrough in innovation, let's say in this case, Ethereum invented smart contract programming, there's a lot of innovation and excitement around that. And then it reaches some sort of a bottleneck or threshold as to what is possible on that particular platform. We've seen this with things like the Palm Pilot or BlackBerry. And then what ends up happening is you have a leap in innovation that dramatically improves the user experience, not just the core underlying technology, which drives mass adoption. That would be something like the iPhone. We're having that moment now with something like Solana, and this is another reason why we just announced that we're launching this consumer app-focused VC fund, because we believe the infrastructure is actually sound enough for something like Solana to drive mass consumer adoption. Now, let's couple that with arguably the best use case of crypto today, which is stablecoins. Just cross-border payments, or frankly, access to US dollars. That desire for US dollars is not going away anytime soon. I don't buy into the belief that the US dollar as a global reserve currency is going away anytime soon. And if anything, this level of technological innovation will continue to kind of bolster the US dollar's hegemony and dominance as a global reserve currency, because we're just putting it on better rails. So I would argue by 23, you have a significant number of breakout applications in Web3 and blockchain. I think Bitcoin becomes a reserve asset at myriad reserve banks, as well as various sovereign wealth funds. And we're already starting to see that happen today. And then US dollar continues to kind of remain the global reserve currency because we're just digitizing it and providing access to the rest of the world. Where in a lot of cases, as you know, study Latin American history, a lot of these countries, you wake up one day and your local currency is devalued 50%. There is a demand for dollars that is incredibly strong, well outside of the United States, and I just don't think that's going to change.
Joe McCann sees crypto volatility as part of its evolution, comparing it to traditional finance where high-growth stocks also face swings but stay strong long-term. He predicts Bitcoin will reach $1 million by 2030, driven by institutional accumulation and sovereign wealth funds. McCann is also bullish on Solana, calling it a breakthrough similar to the iPhone's impact on tech. Meanwhile, stablecoins are reinforcing the US dollar's dominance. Far from fading, crypto is reshaping global finance. However, McCann warns that Ethereum faces major challenges. Without innovation, it risks being overtaken by faster blockchains like Solana. He believes Solana could surpass Ethereum's market cap due to its rapid advancements and record-breaking volumes. For new investors, McCann suggests focusing on Bitcoin and Solana as core holdings, with other altcoins based on risk tolerance. The big question is, will Bitcoin's dominance last, or will Solana's innovation define the future?
I view the fundamentals of Ethereum as challenged. And so where's Bitcoin? Probably $1 million. That's my guess, is you have an order of magnitude increase where the price is today over 5 years. The problem with Ethereum, and this is why it's hard to forecast for 5 years out for something like Ethereum, is that they could have a kind of leap in a technological breakthrough that enables them to actually compete with these high performance, high throughput chains like Solana and Sui and Aptos. They could have that happen. The current architectural design and the design decisions that they've made disables them from becoming a consumer adopted chain. And so then the question arises, well, then why own Ethereum, the asset, if it is not going to be something that is widely adopted? Again, I look at the history, right? What happened to Research in Motion about a year or two after the iPhone came out? The stock got absolutely crushed, right? And BlackBerry today, I mean, you can find it contemporaneously in the hands of people around the world, but for the most part, it doesn't have a meaningful market share in the smartphone market. Did they kind of pivot into other aspects? Yes, they're tied into a lot of governments and they have cybersecurity capabilities, et cetera. Ethereum can't really pivot into an entirely other different vertical. Now, what they can do is carve out a specific niche and really hyper focus on that. But that TAM is much smaller than the general use cases of, say, a smart contract platform. So, look, barring some huge technological innovation, I don't see Ethereum, an order of magnitude higher than it is right now. It's probably, it will trade as a correlated asset to things like Bitcoin and Solana. But since 2021, it has dramatically underperformed Bitcoin and dramatically underperformed Solana. I don't see that trend changing anytime soon because the fundamentals don't actually support it. So what's the price target? I mean, pick a number, 15,000, 20,000. It's not going to be anywhere close on a relative value to something like Bitcoin and Solana, which is why in 2024, we owned exactly 0 Ethereum at the fund, and we still see no real reason to own it this year based on the fundamental analysis that we have. Where is Solana in 2030? Right now, there's a proposal in place to change the inflation rate for Solana from a fixed number to a dynamic number. It's kind of tough to say what the price target will be if you have a fluctuating interest rate as it relates to inflation. Could Solana be, $10,000? Sure. Could it be $5,000? Sure. Pick a number. I just think it will actually eclipse Ethereum's total market cap. And that's kind of the metric that I would use, is that if you can put a pin in where you think Ethereum's going to be in 5 years, Solana should eclipse that. And right now, Solana's worth about 1/4 of the value of Ethereum. This is a true test for the Solana community because this is, there's two kind of camps here. One is the technologists, and then there's the other folks that are more kind of institutional investor-y finance types. And historically, as you're probably aware, that's like oil and water mixing. The technologists make a very good case, but so do the folks on the kind of institutional side or the finance side. And so if I, gunned ahead, I had to pick one right now, it probably passes the proposal, which would then imply a dynamic inflation rate as opposed to a fixed one. But I think that one of the biggest concerns that I have is Solana is really kicking ass, pardon my French, right now, right? Like 5 months in a row, they have eclipsed every other chain combined in terms of trading activity and what we call decentralized exchange trading volume. The fundamentals are just lights out right now. And so when you introduce a potential large change to the underlying protocol, the question arises, why? If it's working well, why now? And I do think that there's an argument to be made that, hey, while things are working well, it's time to actually continue to innovate and kind of, leapfrog the potential competition, so to speak. So gunned ahead, yeah, I think that it probably passes. I think it will be okay. Like I have a lot of confidence in the teams and the open source developers that are behind this project. But it is not without any risk, right? Any fundamental change to an underlying protocol introduces some level of risk. If you're starting in 2025, I would think about investing in crypto as another part of your portfolio. I would not suggest to anyone to put 100% of their money into crypto. It's too volatile of an asset class. So if you say you have a portfolio of, stocks and ETFs and maybe some real estate, maybe you have some private equity or venture capital exposure or something like that, crypto should just be another part of that allocation. We could pick any number. It could be 1%, it could be 10%, it doesn't matter. So let's assume it's 10%. And for simple math, let's say you have $1 million. That's $100,000. The easiest way to get involved would be to, open up an account on Kraken or Coinbase. I'm assuming you're US based. And within there, you could position your portfolio to absolutely include things like Bitcoin, absolutely include things like Solana. And then depending on your risk tolerance, you could dabble in, what we call the longer tail of tokens. So this could include things like meme coins, but it doesn't have to. There are myriad other tokens that are available on places like on Kraken and Coinbase.
Bitcoin's recent drop below $90,000 has worried investors, especially after the US government's disappointing Bitcoin reserve announcement. Instead of buying new BTC, they use seized cryptocurrency, frustrating those hoping for direct institutional support. With $1.13 billion in leveraged positions at risk, if Bitcoin falls below $88,200, volatility remains a concern. Despite the dip, McCann remains bullish on Bitcoin's long-term future. He believes institutional and sovereign accumulation will drive Bitcoin to $1 million by 2030. Limited supply and increasing adoption strengthen its position as a store of value. Meanwhile, Ethereum's struggles and Solana's rise are reshaping the crypto landscape. Without major innovation, Ethereum could lose its dominance to Solana's faster, high-performance blockchain. For investors, McCann sees this volatile period as an opportunity. With strong institutional backing and growing real-world adoption, the long-term outlook for crypto remains bright. What do you think? Can Ethereum maintain its dominance, or will Solana's innovation reshape the future? Share your thoughts below, like this video, and don't forget to subscribe for more insights. Thanks for watching.